I'm still standing after all this time. Hey, what's going on? You know, growing up, I kind of made fun of some of the anti-bullying campaigns in school. It wasn't because, oh, it's calling me out. No, more so, it wasn't calling out actual bullies. A lot of these campaigns, I think they get the right message across. You know, they're kind of saying, you know, stop bullying. Okay, but how? You know, there could be so much time invested into stopping bullying in schools. But you know what's interesting is the core of what makes an insecure bully is just that, insecurity. And I think by them just scratching the surface and saying stop bullying, it often can be used against it in terms of not being taken seriously, especially in an environment of middle schoolers that, you know, they could easily make fun of such a shallow campaign. And so that is an interesting question because, you know, obviously insecure bullying happens outside of school. We see it depicted a lot in media. We see it depicted in daily life. Unfortunately, there are people that still haven't dealt with those insecurities, and out of compensation for wanting to look stronger than they actually are, they try to dominate and possess other people in terms of wanting them to feel worthless. And by doing that, by trying to instill and projecting these feelings of worthlessness, what they're scared of feeling powerless.
Look what has become of you, a rat in the desert.
Look what I have risen above. If you define yourself by your power to take life, the desire to dominate, to possess, then you have nothing.
And what do you have?
They try to obtain more and more followers because those followers start having doubts. They start getting their own insecurities instilled by that. And so what is the catch-22 here? What is the 180? And that is a healthy amount of self-worth. And I think being able to keep standing up for yourself is a big aspect that I think everyone should learn to do. Not just standing up for yourself, though. Standing up for others. And I think that's another term that is said a lot, but when you really think about it, the impact of standing up for someone else can go a long way. And a lot of that starts by breaking through the bystander effect.
You don't like Thumper? Leave her alone!
So in the United States, where the college associates in arts degrees program, it often, you know, at least when I took it 10 years ago, and it sounds like now, in the general education path, you're required to take Intro to Psychology. And in my Intro to Psychology course, they covered the bystander effect and the diffusion of responsibility. And unfortunately, you can learn a lot about how much human beings might dive into selfish ambition. And it's not to say that, oh, every human being is selfish inherently, but it takes a little bit of processing from your brain to say, wait a second, is what I'm doing ironically selfish? And so in this case, with the bystander effect, if you see someone getting picked on, and there's so many people around you, the concept of the diffusion of responsibility kicks in more and more on average. You know, it's your DNA, so you know it's saying, oh, someone else will get it. I'm trying to selfishly protect you, because if you go call out that bully, you'll be the next target. You don't want that. You don't want to be a target. You're trying to survive, right? It's being able to bypass that.
But there was that ant that stood up to me. Yeah.
And you have to ask yourself, can I? And then, you know, with enough foresight, you think about how much bypassing the bystander effect will make an impact on those that are picked on.
It was just one ant. One ant.
Yeah, you're right. It's just one ant.
Yeah, boy.
Those that go home and might not have a lot of friends, go home feeling worthless. Again, these are feelings often projected from these insecure bullies. They're trying to get on other people because deep down those bullies are insecure themselves, and they are scared to feel powerless. They don't value humility as a virtue.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up.
So being able to be educated and understand that, while your survival instincts might kick in and say, hey, I don't want you to be the next target. What are you scared of, though? Because more often than not, there are a lot of people in situations like that, whether it's online, whether it's on the street, someone's getting mugged, oh, go stop him, right? Being able to stand up for yourself and stand up for someone else is an action of inspiration that can help kindle the flames in others.
Hey, just start the cartoon!
Hey, you want to shut up?
Together with allied forces, we'll face any threat, no matter the size.
So many times people will bring up, just to me, they'll be like, Pete, I don't know what to do. Pete, in these situations, this person is being relentless to me or being relentless to others. And then when you hear that enough times, you remind them there are other like-minded people that want to do the right thing, but they might be scared. They might have, grown up without having much of a voice themselves. And so it all starts with helping others find their voice.
You just don't know when to give up, do you?
I can do this all day.
My favorite comic book hero is Captain America. And I often, he really is the perfect example of testing who a person is, just by listening to their opinions on him. If they're often having some gripes with good old Steve Rogers, it's often some red flags popping up. And often you can correlate those traits with them hating how much that Captain America stands up for himself, but also standing up for others. Being selfless. Valuing the words of integrity. A word I learned my sophomore year of high school. I obviously, the concept of integrity was there growing up. You do acts of charity, you help people out. But when I actually read the definition of integrity, it took me a little bit. Like, I looked at the term, it was in my English class, and integrity is doing the right thing even when no one is looking. And I just thought of all the people that I knew. They would go online and they would, donate to charity, or I'm gonna go donate to this orphanage. But the priority was to demonstrate to others, look how good I am. Look at this good deed I did, right? The priority wasn't to give a hand up and hoping that those people you helped will also go help others without needing the spotlight. And so the thing about Captain America I enjoy is that he is selfless. And, I've seen people make fun of, attempts to make fun, saying like, oh, Captain America, what are his powers? Oh, he's got the superhero serum. Oh, yeah, he might be pretty fast, pretty strong, but what are his powers?
Grenade! Get away! Get back!
It's interesting because who he is was the reason he was chosen for that program. Because he wasn't to be corrupted by the power he was given. I think that's a line that we often brush off, is with great power comes great responsibility. Seriously, it's used a lot, and I actually think people do brush it off a lot because it's commonly used, and people think that we live in a world where we don't have superpowers. But the kind of superpower you do have is instilling hope in others. And that's a big thing that Captain America has as a strength. Characters like the Hulk, Thor, Iron Man, they will listen to Steve Rogers. That's a power of itself. Being able to have the trust of those heroes and you telling them, hey, this is the thing we need to do. And they understand his judgment of character. Being able to lead the Avengers isn't easy, but you know, he is the definition of inspiration and helping others. And it all started by breaking that bystander effect. And so, you know, when it comes to stopping bullying, it really does come down to speaking up for those people. And you might not see the result then, and honestly, you shouldn't be speaking up for others for admiration. You should be speaking up for others because it can help instill hope in them. And when you help instill hope in them, that can have its own ripple effect. And honestly, it only takes a few people for insecure bullies to start crumbling and falling apart.
Where do you get the gall to do this to me?
Hard. Because their own instincts kick in. Their instincts of the tribe's against me. There's a group of people that don't like me. I don't like that feeling. Definitely a primal feeling of a group now alienating you.
You are mindless, soil-shoving losers, put on this earth to serve us.
You're wrong, Hopper.
Of course they're scared of that. And it all starts with you standing up for yourself. You stand up for yourself and you stand up for others. You understand when people are talking poorly about someone else. Call them out. Be the first one to take that step. You'd be amazed how many other people will follow you. Because it's not out of selfish ambition. You're doing it because you know that it's the right thing. Years from now, I've had people come up to me and say, Pete, you saved me. Pete, you helped me. And that's not what I'm in it for. I'm in for helping others feel their own feelings of self-worth because I was given that early in my life. Very fortunate. You know, my mom is a therapist, and she was able to instill these feelings of, again, self-worth, where I don't have to compensate for these insecure feelings of feeling powerless, because I don't care about that. What matters is me being who I am and helping others feeling better about themselves. There's so
Ants don't serve grasshoppers. It's you who need us. We're a lot stronger than you say we are. And you know it, don't you?
There's so many cool things in this world. There's only so much time. It's not to make you panic, but it's amazing that with the time we're given in this awesome thing we call life, a lot of it can be spent with petty bickering. A lot of it can be spent with petty isolation. A lot of it can be spent with petty words that are just thrown out to try and hurt others. So the next time you do see it, you know, whether it is, you know, someone being slandered or, you know, you understanding that someone's being picked on, wall break the bystander effect. It's amazing how far that leap can go. It's a leap, but it's worth taking. It's worth helping others, you know, feeling like they're valued. Because
Well, princess.
Hopper, I hate to interrupt, but
because they're gonna go home and interact with their friends and family, and if you help them feel valued, imagine what that could do for them and the ones around them. You know, I'm glad it's getting praised to this day, but the movie Bug's Life, way ahead of its time, not just in animation and acting, but the writers and creatives behind that movie understood this exact dynamic I'm talking to, you know, in terms of, like, you know, the people that might be listening right now that are feeling like, okay, you know what, I should stand up for myself more, because that's exactly what Flick did. You know, that early scene, you know, the Hopper is a great villain because he's real. There's a lot of people like that. You know, he said it himself. It's not about the food. It's about keeping them in line. Hopper is insecurely compensating for his lack of healthy self-worth by trying to dominate ants. But deep down, he's scared. You know, like Flick pointed out to him, he's scared. He's scared of them outnumbering him. He's scared of losing his position of power. Always stand up for yourself. Always stand up for what is right. You know, there's a big philosophy about what is right. But at your core, you should know that what is right is helping others feel valued, helping others just feel included, making sure that, you know, that feeling of acceptance and self-worth is abundant. And, you know, villains like Hopper and people in real life that are like him, they don't want that instilled in others. They're scared of people finding their own strength because they want control. They want domination.
Idea.
They do.
You see, Hopper, nature has a certain order. The ants pick the food, the ants keep the food, and the grasshoppers leave.
They do. And if they lose that, they feel like they're nothing. Because they don't value humility. So I hope, you know, at the end of the day, you know, you know, when these campaigns say stop bullying, really what it comes down to is give a hand up. You know, take a look around you. Recognize when to give a hand up to other people. You know, at the end of the day, it's important to love and be loved, friends, family, helping everyone find their individual forms of self-worth. And when you can instill that, that's already making the world a better and safer place. I love Mondays.